He is the king of stupendous,
I'm going to spend the next 50 hours alone in solitary confinement.
the god of ludicrous,
I'm not eating any food for the next 30 days.
and the saint of YouTube philanthropy.
This secluded island in Colombia houses over 250 people.
And if you look at his view totals, they are absolutely eye-watering, especially when you see things like this, his growth over the previous month at the time of shooting this video. So how does he do it then? Is there a formula? Yes, there is. But what if I told you that he's just reusing formulas that have been proven successful over the last several decades and on different mediums? Would you be shocked? Well, let's dive in. Let's start this out by breaking down Mr. Beast's videos into the types. And for the most part, there are three. You have the philanthropy, the challenge, and the ridiculous. Each of these has their subtypes, but for most, if not all videos on his feed fit into one of these three categories. Also, some of his videos fall into more than one of these categories, and those tend to be the bigger videos he does. But this is an important distinction to make when breaking down the success of his videos, because once you find the parallels between his content and historically popular content, you will start to understand the mass appeal. But before we break those down, let's get the basics out of the way. So we're not going to spend too much time on this, but it does need to be said. There are things that most people don't notice, but Mr. Beast has mastered the basics of in the art of storytelling. And that skill can be summed up simply with he doesn't waste the viewer's time. He starts almost every video out with a mission statement for what the viewer can expect.
We are now stranded on a raft in the middle of the ocean.
Then, depending on the video, he will follow up with a roll of future footage for big moments in the video that supports the initial statement. All things the viewer can expect, and in turn, also using these montages to hook you in.
This is brutal.
We're all at rock bottom now. This challenge went from fun to a literal nightmare very fast.
And all of this is usually done in the first 30 seconds of the video. And to add to that, that intro will immediately pay off what the thumbnail represents. So if you clicked on it, that is exactly what you're getting. Put simply, Mr. Beast understands and utilizes pace and promises. It may sound simple, but it might just be the hardest part for many, and why so many fail in their pursuit to be the next Jimmy. Now that we have covered that, let's break down his content and figure out how it's so popular, starting with philanthropy. Now, this has been the cornerstone of Mr. Beast for some time, but perhaps not necessarily the key to his success. We'll get into that in a bit. But Jimmy pioneered this concept with videos such as giving a random homeless man $10,000 and giving my mom $100,000. Big time videos, and they had massive appeal. But why? What makes a video like this so enticing, and how did they help blow up his channel? Well, stuff like this isn't exactly a new concept, and in fact, in some way or another, content like this has always been wildly popular in conventional media. The philanthropic makeover style of TV blew up in the early 2000s and honestly is still chugging along with shows like Queer Eye. These shows generally take people in need and blow up something in their life. The Extreme Makeover series from the early 2000s is a good example of this. Generally, the payoff was something akin to a lottery win, and the makeover was always above and beyond what was needed, or the results were just always shocking. And while this seems like a silly comparison, take a second and actually break it down. In reality, the actual act of giving is not what is captivating about these series. It's the story. It's the background. It's how well the story is told. Of course, there's always the money shot of the big reveal, but that only serves as the last carrot on the stick that keeps you watching longer. And again, it's something that Jimmy does incredibly well in this style of videos. But all those parallels are there. Mr. Beast follows all the same principles, but as he has gotten bigger and bigger, he just does it better. And yes, we will be talking about that money thing in a bit because it does actually come into play. Next up, let's talk about his ridiculous videos. These are the ones that often overlap with challenges, but generally are ridiculous concepts that the average person does not get to do. From eating a $100,000 bowl of ice cream to being hunted by a bounty hunter or assassin.
Are we sure this one's for you? Pretty sure.
Even the videos comparing cheap versus expensive things kind of fall into this category. Now, this style of video is wholly dependent on storytelling and intrigue. These are fast-paced and don't take time to smell the roses.
If that squad successfully hunts me down before the end of the day, then you get this 100 grand. Run, run, run. Get it. Go, Jimmy, go, bro, go. Oh, they're running after us.
But while the outline of these things seems to be rather simplistic, this is extremely controlled storytelling and filming. Nothing is left to chance.
Hey, Chandler. Yeah.
You know what to do.
I got you.
But where does all of this kind of entertainment stem from, though? Well, this is a bit of a broad range of videos by Jimmy, and because of that, they come in a few different sources. The older show Fear Factor is a good start. Ridiculous things meant to wow the viewer. But then some videos are reminiscent of old food shows, like something Guy Fieri would do. But all these kind of fall under one umbrella of network style of content: reality TV. Wildly popular growth starting in the 90s, and really, it hasn't slowed down. And what's fascinating about this is Mr. Beast has basically turned himself and his friends into the personalities on a reality TV show. It's kind of smart if you ask me. Now, all that said, this is completely paling in comparison to what the last group of videos draw from. Now, some would agree, and I would actually agree as well, that this is the style of video that is the crux for Mr. Beast's success. These range from the ridiculous to the life-changing, which is why it overlaps with the last section so well. Some of Jimmy's classics include his Squid Game video.
Play is red light, green light, and they have 30 minutes to cross the red line on the other side of the huge room.
Countless giveaways like an island, a Lambo, or just some unbelievable amount of money. These videos have only gotten bigger and bigger as Jimmy rolls more and more money into them from the previous ones. These are also the videos that must make TV producers froth at the mouth at the obscene amounts of money given away in less than half an hour, especially when they used to run half that budget over a full season. And I think this also goes without saying. A lot of these videos are a complete loss for Mr. Beast. But again, what old broadcast styles do these harken back to? Well, the good old game show.
Come on, baby! Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? $30,000!
One of the most addictive of all the types of TV shows, and one that has been multi-generational in its appeal. Think about it. Jeopardy, Price is Right, Wheel of Fortune, there's so many. These generally don't fail. And while not all of Mr. Beast's videos like this aren't perfect carbon copies of old game shows, sometimes he pulls one out that might have even been on TV at one time.
Carl, start the timer. You guys have 60 seconds. Whatever you put in this cart, I will pay for up to $1 million.
Now, don't get me wrong. These all have to be really well done, but it is pretty obvious that Mr. Beast has refined it down to an art form. So then, taking all that information in, what can you do with it? No, you do not go and rip off Mr. Beast. For one, you really can't, especially if you're just starting out. He has refined everything down to the scripting, and you cannot fake that experience he has gained over the years. But you may notice I didn't mention money. While Jimmy has seemingly endless amounts of money to throw into each video, I don't think it's ultimately necessary. Because no matter how ridiculous and over the top his videos can get, it's the storytelling that gets people coming back. But instead of just thinking about ripping him off, maybe this is something that can inspire you to take hints from the past and what was always popular. These inspirations can drive you to find your own style and concepts that are begging to be redone for the interwebs. Regardless of what you do, though, remember, it will take you time to refine it and make it into something that everyone wants to see. Remember, all of this is story-driven. Nothing you see in Mr. Beast videos is random. And if you're looking to be the next big thing on YouTube, I would suggest you start there and get that down. Did I miss anything though? Let me know down below. Cheers.